So this is the language that I want you to see is going to be consistent throughout the Bible as it concerns the arrival of this great army from the north. In other words, these judges upon the earth that are going to be further described as the tribe of Dan. Well, they arrive in a consistent theme throughout the Bible. We'll see it all over the place. One place in particular would be Job. And they arrive with this morning, with this dawning. And we're going to find out that it's this dawning of a new age, a new world age. So this is consistent here because it's describing this destruction that happens during the beginning and the closing of an age as it's related to this destruction on people. And then, like I said, if you read the language, you're going to find out that that's exactly what was Dan doing. I mean, Dan was destroying people by the thousands. Now, it's recorded as the Philistines, and everybody wants to believe that the Philistines are 100% evil. But I just want you to know that this story is coded. It's absolutely coded. And if you watch the stuff that I do already, you'll see how all this fits in. So Samson is really symbolic for these Danites as a whole. And then, of course, we show an incredible amount of information about this Samson, who is this depiction of this 13th judge of Israel, which is prophesied to return out of Moses' own mouth and out of Jacob's own mouth. In both their dying blessings, Dan is described as coming back at the end times as a judge, a serpent, an adder in the path, and even a lion's whelp. So this is description of these ages where these beings appear as the judges upon the world and of course cause this destruction. Now I can further support this in a unique way. Let's just have a little bit of patience. I'm going to tie this up with this description that I told you was in the Bible that will connect us 100% in a Sumerian way about these ancient hero kings. In other words, the sons of God. Now we're going to be looking here in the book of Daniel, starting here at chapter 4. Now this is going to concern Nebuchadnezzar. I want to read first and then explain later. He cried aloud and said thus, "Hew down the tree and cut off his branches, shake off his leaves and scatter his fruit. Let the beasts get away from under it and the fowls from his branches. Nevertheless, leave the stump of his roots in the earth, even with a band of iron and brass, and the tender grass of the field, and let it be wet with the dew of heaven, and let his portion be with the beasts and the grass of the earth. Let his heart be changed from a man's, and let a beast's heart be given unto him, and let 7 times pass over him." Now, let's go a little further and jump to right here, verse 33 of the same chapter. "The same hour was the thing fulfilled upon Nebuchadnezzar, and he was driven from men, and did eat grass as an oxen, and his body was wet with the dew of heaven, till his hairs were grown like eagle's feathers, and his nails like bird's claws." Now listen to this. "Till his hairs were grown like eagle's feathers, and his nails like bird claws." And it describes, "And he was driven from men." Now, as compared to this once more, he cried aloud and said thus, "Hew down the tree and cut off his branches, shake off his leaves and scatter his fruit. Let the beasts get away from under it and the fowls from his branches. Nevertheless, leave the stump of his roots in the earth, even with a band of iron and brass." Okay, now we just got a perfect description here of one of these ancient hero kings being described in a very particular way that is 100% consistent with these ancient Sumerian Anunnaki. As we see here, this being is depicted as a bird. And of course with these feathers. And then we have further depiction of one of these other ancient Mesopotamian deities. And then of course depicted once again as a bird of heaven. And then the claws like eagle's feet or bird's feet, talons in general. So as we compare this scripture to everything else that we've talked about, I think it makes an interesting connection. I'll be back.